Hello and welcome to the Super Basement Bros SpoilerCast.
Spoilers.
Spoiler. First one of
Can't
its
even
kind.
talk about this without spoilers.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way.
This is our Last of Us Part 2 SpoilerCast. So be warned, we will talk about everything in this game from beginning to end, all the surprises, everything. So just go away now if you haven't finished the game. This is your big warning because we don't want to ruin the game for you. There's so many plot twists and things in this game that you don't want to miss.
The whole game launched, and I avoided those things like a plague.
I somehow didn't get it spoiled for me. I have no idea how.
Same.
Because
I think that made the game better for me too.
Oh, me too, 100%. And I think it would have for most people. We'll get into that, but if you have not played the game, I highly suggest just playing it first. But yeah, do we want to just say real fast, just like well, I guess we'll just go ahead and do spoilers with it. But yeah, go away now. Last warning, spoilers, beware. Anyway, with that being said, let's talk about The Last of Us Part 2, because Hasten, I have been dying to talk about this game.
I know, me too. It's been it's crazy.
Yeah, so it's been officially, we're recording this a little after a week of launch. It's been like a week and
a few days.
Couple days. The main reason why it's taken us so long is because it took me so long to actually beat this game, first of all, which was a surprise to me because we both picked it up right at launch as soon as we could. And played it nonstop that entire weekend for the most part, like both of us. You beat it on your second day, I think?
I beat it on... Yeah, so I got it on launch day at 11 a.m. because you can't get a midnight launch.
Yeah, with everything really going on. Yeah.
But I played from then until 2 a.m. on Sunday. And then I woke up at 10 and played until about 6 p.m. So, it was just nonstop.
Yeah,
those first 2 days.
It's crazy because I was roughly the same opening weekend, but...
I did play on an easier difficulty.
Oh, did you play on the lighter one? Okay.
I didn't play on easy, but I played on the second easiest one, just because I enjoy playing the story first, and then I go back through and play on hard.
Yeah, I played on moderate. I just played on the base difficulty, but I don't know. Me and Hasten were talking about this briefly. This game goes on much longer than I anticipated, which I was glad about. Don't get me wrong. I was enjoying every moment of it, but it ended up taking me, once I got back to my weekly schedule where I go to work and stuff like that, I just didn't have time in the day to play it all day like I did the first weekend. So it ended up taking me till now. I just finally finished it last night. And I was glad I was able to still, go at it my own pace. But there was moments where, like yesterday, I did start to just screw it. I'm not going to worry about the collectibles in this area because I just need to get this beaten because I was so worried I was going to get spoiled for me.
Yeah.
Because I was seeing more and more stuff on Twitter. I have everything on Twitter blocked word-wise.
So do I. I need to unblock it so I can see the conversation.
Yeah, same. But I would still get stuff. People would find loopholes where it's like...
I see Ellie and I'm like, ah!
Yeah, exactly. I would see pictures of Abby all of a sudden. I'd be like, oh, no, and I'd quickly scroll back. Yeah. So I just wanted to get it beat, and I'm glad I finally did, and I'm excited to finally talk about it. But, let's go ahead and start with the biggest spoiler of this game, I'd say, which happens...
Which is very soon in the game.
Very soon.
So you go through a really kind of cool scene where you meet Ellie and her love interest, Dina.
And you're introduced to Jackson, where they're living now, which
Jackson,
is...
Wyoming, yep, and Jesse
the
character.
Also,
and then you go on there. They do
patrols.
Patrols, yeah. Where they go and scout areas, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then what do they do after that?
So, yeah, it's like... First of all, what did you think of Jackson as this place? Because for 7 years now...
It's strange because, how are they...
It's like a
they explained
it
all. They explained it all because in the first one, you got to remember, they have the water generator. And they have people that patrol that.
Well, and then Tommy, of course, yeah.
And then... Yeah, so it's such a cool place because it's you're in this apocalypse and then there's just this town,
the society that's safe.
They have tons of food and they're fine.
I thought it was awesome too,
and it's a perfect place too to have it too because you're in Jackson.
It's beautiful.
There's tons of meat crops. There's not a lot of people, so there shouldn't be a ton of infected. If you were to go to LA or New York.
Exactly, yeah, and yeah, for 7 years now, it's crazy that we've been wondering so what happens after The Last of Us, and now we finally get this answer, and I thought it was awesome too. They've been living there, I think, for 4 years is what we're saying. Yeah. Since Last of Us ended, and we pick up and we don't really know where Joel and Ellie are at in their relationship at this time. Obviously, we're revealed way more as we progress through the story through flashbacks, but they go each character that the main characters go on patrols and stuff like that in this town, along with everyone's contributing in some way. Joel and Tommy are together. I was so happy that Tommy came back because he was a character I wasn't sure would be coming back for the sequel, but I know he was in trailers and stuff like that, but I didn't know like how large a role he would play.
Yeah.
So I was glad he was in this,
and a big role too.
Yeah, he did. More on that later, but yeah. So they go on like these patrols. Ellie and Dina, like your first combat encounters, like in some little mall or something like that. I think
like a shopping supermarket.
Yeah,
some town nearby.
And then Jesse comes and he's like, "Hey, Joel and Tommy went missing. We don't know where they are." And so and through like a flashback.
That was one of my favorite scenes too. Is like when they like find the weed that the
Eugene had grown. in the basement. Yeah,
and they're just like, oh look, a gas mask bong.
That was
like that's good.
That was a great scene too. This game is full of so many good like character moments that like I have to say, like, before we get too much further, this game I would have to say, out of any game I've ever played, nothing's had me as emotionally connected as this game did.
Last of Us 1 had me more connected to like Joel and Ellie.
Sure, yeah.
Specifically.
I mean...
But to more amount of characters, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean more in terms of like with Last of Us Part 1, since it was the first one, I cared about those characters, but you grew to care about them through the game.
True.
It's like this one, since we knew who they were, you start right off from the beginning like, please, nothing bad happen
to Ellie
or Joel or anything. And from the get-go, you're like concerned for everyone's well-being. And so like this game, the entire time was just this huge roller coaster for me, where I was this game left me super distraught in so many ways, in a good way. Like, but it's a painful game. Like, it's really brutal. It's extremely violent. But yeah, I love that scene too with the weed. What were you gonna say?
After they're done with their patrol, or like partially done, it cuts over to Abby.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So you meet this brand new character that it's a game I've never seen a game do it.
Yeah.
Like where you play as the villain. Mm-hmm. And then you get
the villain,
and then you get to like her or like whatever, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you get to like her, and then it cuts back. Oh no. Yeah, no. So she goes running. This is how they meet, Abby and the Joel. So she runs she gets through this like mountain thing, and then she goes and fights some zombies, and then they just swarm her. Yeah, and she's running.
And guess who shows up?
It's Joel.
Freaking Joel and Tommy, dude,
to save her. So
and dude, like this is so awesome. For storytelling, because first of all, we totally skipped the actual beginning of the game, which I thought was awesome, which is Joel explaining to Tommy everything that happened, and then you play as Joel, which was awesome. Riding on horseback.
Gosh. The graffics for this game, dude. That was the best looking scene I've ever seen from any game, and I play on I play on PC with a high end PC, and it's like it didn't even come close.
It was
like
insane.
I have the PS4. And I wasn't even playing on the Pro. I was playing on the Slim version.
One, yeah,
and it's like, how in the frick? There's God rays coming, and it's like, you're like, what the frick?
That scene when you come over the hill, and there's just the field,
the wheat field,
the wheat field, and then you see Jackson down below. That was one of the. I took a screenshot like right away.
I did too.
This is gorgeous. This whole scene and the music. And like right away, you get this like feeling that Joel.
You're like, oh yeah, this is Naughty Dog. This is gonna be a good game.
Exactly, yeah. And you get this feeling that it's like right away, like you know, you're gonna go on this epic adventure, and like you see right away too with Joel that he's haunted by by what happened with him and Ellie. And you know
he killed a lot of innocent people.
Yeah, he did, and it's revealed later on, obviously, that him and Ellie aren't talking at this point.
Yeah.
And so like he explains to Tommy what happened, and he says like, I'll take this to the grave if I have to. So it's kind of like this secret that nobody knows, and we at the beginning of the game we don't even know that if Ellie knows. And once again we learn later through a flashback that she does figure it out. But yeah, this game. One thing I loved about this game too is we'll get back to the beginning in a second here, but I loved that they had through flashbacks told the story like linearly.
Yeah,
say that right, but it's like we learn about things later in the game that make you go, oh, that makes that make more sense, or like, okay, that explains why Joel and Ellie weren't talking in this moment, or why they were talking in this moment. And I just thought that was so well done.
And those are some of my favorite scenes in the whole game too. Like when you got to go to the museum, the history museum with Joel.
Gosh, dude.
I was like, and she like goes to the space station.
Oh,
it was so cool.
That was that. I think that might be my favorite moment in the game, or at least favorite section. Because there's so many good moments.
Why don't you just love Joel so much? Oh, we got to get through this.
We'll get through this first part. But yeah, as you were saying, all of a sudden your perspective changes, and I was in shock with this too, because
I was like, wait, I want to play as Ellie. I want to go on that patrol.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it switched over before you even go on patrol, I think.
I can't remember. Yeah,
and then once you get safe with Abby, then it goes back to the patrol with Ellie.
Yeah, so like Abby's situation's super mysterious. Like she's with this group of people. There's Owen with her, and you can tell they have a relationship of some sort, but you don't know how friendly it is. But Abby, the entire time, is just talking about, oh, he has to be here. Like, someone
has to be here. You don't know who
it is. And
if you haven't seen spoilers.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why I'm glad I didn't see spoilers.
Oh, my gosh.
Because I went back and read the spoilers after, and I was like, oh, my goodness.
And I know, and this is the crazy thing, is, like, there's so much to talk about with this game. I have so many notes about it, and I don't know the best way to, like,
me neither. I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, but, like, when the spoilers leaked for this game, it was 2 months before the game came out, which is just devastating. And, like, I've gone on to, like... So I went back after I beat it. One of the first things I did is went back and I watched all the trailers leading up to this game. Because I can't believe... Can you believe that this game was announced in December 2016?
It's a long time. 2016?
2016.
4 years ago?
4 years ago.
Wow.
I didn't realize it had been that long either. But yeah, the reveal trailer was at PSX 2016. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude. We've been waiting for this forever. Like, I knew it was long, but I couldn't believe when I saw that. And... It's interesting because from the very first trailer, you get this trailer with Ellie playing the guitar in a bed, and Joel comes walking in, and he's like, are you really going to go through with this, kiddo? And then she goes, I'm going to kill every last one of them. And that's how the trailer ends. And, like, that trailer doesn't make sense to you.
It makes you know that it's, like, a revenge story.
Yeah, that's the only thing you know about it. But then it's like, after playing this game, it all makes so much sense. And that's crazy that they had that all scripted out back in 2016. Like, they knew
what the story
exactly what was going to happen. And if you remember, I want to touch on this real fast before we continue with Abby stuff, because it's really interesting. The next trailer we got after that was in 2017, and it was about Abby. You remember when she's being tortured, being strung up with Lev and Yara? And it's like, I remember when that trailer came out, everyone was super confused. They were like, who are these characters? No one knew. And do you remember there was tons of theories about it being Ellie's mom? Like, no. It was there was this big theory.
She's way too young, I think.
Way too young, yeah. But people were thinking it was like maybe a flashback, like that.
I do have something about Abby. Well, I'll get to it. It's like last thing almost.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But yeah, like I remember that was like a big theory. People were like, "Oh, this is set way before The Last of Us takes place," you know. And it's like, this is her mom, and you're gonna play as her throughout the game. It's just funny now to look back at that and realize how wrong it was. And also,
it's like the opposite.
It's a complete... It couldn't be farther from how it was. And it's interesting, too, because Naughty Dog, those sly freaking dogs, dude, faking us out so many times in the trailers. Because one of our favorite trailer moments...
When Joel comes up, he's like, hey there.
You thought I'd let you do this alone? Like,
it's like, we're going to get to go on a mission with these two.
They totally tricked us. And I personally think it was brilliant. I know a lot of people were mad about that, but it's like... I thought it was a great move, because then it threw us all off the scent. Because there was also a lot of rumors going... Not even rumors, but just theories. People being like, I think Joel might be dead. Or he's going to die in this game. Like, a lot of people were theorizing that. And then when they showed that trailer where he's like, think I'd let you do this on your own, kiddo? Everyone immediately was like, oh, Joel's not dead. He's alive. Perfect. Like, he's going to go on missions with us. And it threw everyone off the scent to where when the reveal does happen, you're like, oh my gosh. And we'll just get to it at this point. So yeah, Joel dies.
Joel dies.
Joel's murdered.
He gets murdered by a baseball club.
Golf club.
A golf club. Like, and Ellie's screaming, like,
yeah,
no, get up, Joel. Get the F up, Joel.
Yeah,
and then it's just like one swing to the head and it's over.
So this scene, dude, and just to get to the lead up to it real fast, Abby, like we were saying, Abby runs into Joel and Tommy. Joel and Tommy save her
life,
and then she takes them back to her camp where all of the characters we get to know are, Owen, Mel, I think Manny's there. And you don't know who they are. To you, you're just like, who are these mysterious people? And one of my favorite moments in the game happens where they're like, Tommy's like, hey, come back to Jackson or whatever. He's like, resupply up. And then they're like, I'm Tommy, by the way.
And
shakes her hand. And then He's like, and this is my brother. And then Joel's like, I'm Joel or something like that. Or
Tommy's just like, hey, I'm Tommy and this is Joel.
And this is Joel.
And then and then you just see, if you actually look at Abby's face at that moment, she's like like she just gets all serious. Like it all just gets serious and
it's
so
so
good, and then Joel's like, you guys act like you've seen me before
or heard of us
before, and he's like, and they're like, oh, you have.
Yeah, and dude, as soon as that happens, like, so as soon as the silence hits the room, I was like, oh no, oh no.
Here's the spoilers.
Yeah, I was like, Joel's gonna freaking die. But I was questioning it. It was like, so all of a sudden, Joel's like, yeah, you guys act like you've heard of us before. And then Abby shotguns freaking Joel's leg. And Joel drops to the floor, and then Tommy gets beaten to death. And I thought Tommy was dead.
I did too.
I was like, are you kidding me?
I was like, there's no way they're gonna...
I'm like, they can't kill Tommy and Joel in the same scene, right? But yeah, so Tommy got beaten up, and I was like, he's freaking dead. And then Joel's on the ground. And so for a split second, I thought, okay, they're not going to kill Joel, because why would they shoot his leg first and then not kill him? For a second, I was like, he's going to get out. Like, you're going to play as Ellie, you're going to come in and save him.
And you did play as Ellie.
And you did.
You came back and you're trying to get into the house. It's a super easy scene too. You just walk in.
You just walk through.
And you just, oh my gosh.
It's so brutal. And so I don't know about you, but for me, it's like this scene was so hard to watch, especially because like it didn't make me like cry. It made me shocked. It made me I was shocked. It was like I was so shocked that I couldn't like feel my emotions. Yeah. It's weird to talk about it that way, but I was legit just like watching as Abby then like beats him with this golf club.
You hate Abby.
And you, dude,
because Joel's your favorite character. Joel's my favorite PlayStation exclusive character.
Yeah,
and
that's the
thing. He might be my favorite character.
He's an awesome character.
I don't know.
And dude, and that's so right away, and obviously we'll get to more later and how your perspective kind of changed, but it's like right away when this happens, I have never been so like angry in a game. Well, like not angry about the game, but angry for Ellie and like at this character being like, I hope we get to hunt this character down and which you do, and kinda. And but I loved the way it was handled and what ended up happening. But it's like it's so devastating to watch that moment, because you go through this entire first game with Joel as like this father figure and you play as Joel, and then have him just die in such a brutal way and not be able to say anything. Like you're hoping for like one last word from him, but he doesn't. Like he just gets bashed in.
Yep.
And
you'd see it in his eyes, he's like, sorry.
Yeah.
Can't get up, kid.
Exactly, yeah. Dude, it's so good. And then, everything kind of blurs out for a second, and Ellie's just so focused on Joel that she can't hear what the other characters are talking about. And we get revealed later on what they're saying. But it's like, so for, and you get one of the guys is just a complete a-hole, like this redneck guy wants to come up and kill Ellie. And then they're like, no, like Owen stops him. He's like, we didn't come here for her, but we don't know this. We can't hear this until later in the game. And, and then we get this scene. Tommy is alive. He's fine.
Yeah, it cuts to black.
Yeah.
Because they hit Ellie and knock her out.
Uh-huh.
Basically.
And essentially you get the idea that Ellie and Tommy woke up and Joel was dead. They buried Joel. There's this really heartbreaking scene where you walk through his house in Jackson with Dina. And Tommy... Oh, one of my favorite scenes. Sorry if we keep doing this, but Tommy coming to Ellie's house with some food for her, and then he hugs her. Like that scene destroyed me. I was like, oh my gosh. That's when I actually started getting more like teary-eyed. Is because after the initial shock.
I cried the first time that Joel and Ellie talked.
Yeah,
like when Joel came over and talked to Ellie,
dude,
and played the guitar.
We totally forgot about that scene too. Yeah. That scene's so good.
That was the first time I cried in the game.
And speaking of that, I did too, by the way. Speaking of that, that's literally the theme of the whole game. That song, which is crazy. If you think about it. So yeah, Joel comes and he sings "Future Days" by Pearl Jam.
Oh, that's right.
And you're playing the song, and I started crying on this part too. And he's like, the first lyrics of the song are, "If I were to ever lose you, I'd surely lose myself."
Yeah.
And if you think about those lyrics, those encapsulate the entire game.
Because Ellie loses Joel and
Ellie loses
herself. Like she goes crazy.
Exactly. And so it's like, it's so brilliant, because when you hear those lyrics, you're thinking of it from Joel's perspective. You're thinking, oh, if Joel ever lost Ellie, he'd lose himself. And that's why he's so protective over her.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like the game shows that it's like, well, actually, Ellie's the one that loses herself when she loses Joel.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, obviously we'll get to stuff later in the game, but she gets to a point where I'm like, stop. Please, for goodness sake, stop.
Not like you.
Yeah, well, and you're making me like... we got to get to this stuff later, but it's like, it's so hard. Like, there was points where I didn't want to press the button anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was like, it's like, press square to strangle or like stab her, and I was like, I can't anymore. Like, I don't want to. Don't make me do this. Because it was like, this game shows you so many different perspectives and, like, reasons for things. But, going back anyway, that essentially kicks off Ellie's journey.
Yeah.
Right? She decides
she goes to Joel's house. She grabs his gun and his watch.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Then, which I wish in the collector's edition they would have given you the watch instead of the bracelet, because there's no connection to the bracelet.
Yeah, it was just Dina that gave it to her, right?
Yeah, I think it was just like, here's this bracelet. Yeah. It's like for protection. But if they gave you the watch,
that would have been awesome, dude.
And they're like, don't open the spoiler. Like,
oh yeah,
you know, or something.
Oh, dude, yeah, like the Arkham Origins collector's edition did. That would be way cool. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But then Marlene comes over and she's like, hey, by the way, guess what? Tommy left. He left me a note. He's after her. He just took off in the morning. He wants me to lock you up.
They told me not to let you go anywhere.
I can't let you go or something. And then Ellie's like, well, I'm going to leave. And then Marlene's like, I know, I'm going to let you.
And she gives him a horse and, you know, everything you need to go out.
And Dina refuses to let Ellie go on her own. So Dina's kind of your partner for most of the beginning of the game, which I thought was awesome too. Like having
for the 12 hours of the beginning.
Yeah, the insane beginning that goes on like for a full game, and we head off to Seattle, which is awesome.
It's a really cool place because there's so much rain and stuff. It seems gloomy, but you get there and it's like sunny, and then it's like gloomy. Sunny and gloomy. And it's like it's off and on. You get like completely different atmospheres.
Yeah, it's a great
even though it's in the same city. Whereas in the first one, you're traveling everywhere and you're getting totally different areas.
Going across the country.
This one, you kind of do the same thing, but you're staying in one area.
City. Yeah, and that's a great thing about Seattle is it's so like diverse in its weather. Where it's like, like you said, it can be rainy, it can be sunny, it can be tropical. Like it can be so many different things. Yeah. But yeah, what did you think about Seattle as the main location for this game? Because for the most part, that's where the entire game takes place. Like most. It
was really awesome too, because like. Later in the game, you go to I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan, so
I knew you'd like
just generally. Yeah, you go to the stadium.
Yeah,
and it's literally Seahawks Stadium. It's designed to look exactly like
built
that.
Just like
the openings at the end, like it's exactly Seahawks Stadium. So that was really cool.
That was way cool, and real fast. Tommy was the one that found out that they were wearing like patches that said WLF
Wolf
or something, which is the Wolves. We learned later on, and that's how they found out to go to Seattle. And, while you're in Seattle, like, you're basically just hunting all these people. I think there's, how many was there? 8?
8. Yeah.
8 guys that were there who were there when Joel was murdered. And so you're basically hunting all these people. And you don't know their backstory. You don't know who they are as characters or anything. You're just on this revenge quest. And I remember an interview with Neil Druckmann like 2 or 3 years ago where they asked him like, "What's Last of Us 2 about?" And he wouldn't say anything besides one word, and he was like, "Revenge." So like the game's about revenge, and I didn't fully understand it until playing the game, obviously, because once again Naughty Dog tricked us out in one of the trailers where they showed the Joel scene, but it was with Dina on the ground to make you think that Dina was the one that killed, and then you're going after Dina's killers, but in reality it was Joel. And this game does a great job at making you completely understand characters' motivations for the most part. Where it's like, I was with Ellie 100% at the beginning of the game, where I'm like, let's
for the first 8 hours of like murder.
Yeah, I was like, let's go after these guys. They freaking killed my father figure, essentially. Let's go hunt them down. This is what should happen. And obviously things change, but is there any specific moments in Ellie's first half that we want to talk about before we get to the transition?
Before we get to the transition of Abby?
Yeah.
Gosh, no, a lot of it, that's the thing, a lot of the in-between stuff is very, there's
gameplay driven.
Gameplay driven. Like, you get a lot of between the story, there's a lot of gameplay, and between Ellie and me playing as Abby, there's a lot of gameplay.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you get the story of like, oh, Joel, Tommy's here. This is where Tommy's. So you're basically trying to hunt down Tommy to go then kill Abby, basically. So
yeah, that's true. And some of my favorite moments in Ellie's story, real fast, is so I was going to bring up one of the main things in Ellie's half is that we get this open Seattle area.
Oh, like yeah,
like one
the
big area.
First time in Naughty Dog's games that you get like an open world.
It was like the only other time they done it was in Lost Legacy with Madagascar. Do you remember? They? Yeah, it was very similar. Where it's like, I think that's where they got the idea for this part because in Lost Legacy there's this one big open area, and then this is the only other game to have done it, and I thought it was awesome. I thought it worked really well. One of my favorite spots is when you go over to the bank. Did you do that and get the shotgun?
Yes.
And then did you find the ring from Uncharted?
No.
They had? Yeah, there was like an Easter egg where one of the artifacts you find is the ring, and it says like Sic Parvis Magna or something, which is like the greatest.
Uncharted, the thing is in the Last of Us. It's like a thing in the Last of Us world because if like in the first one in the DLC, when you go with Riley and you look at the costumes, there's an
Nathan
Uncharted
Drake.
costume, like with Nathan Drake. So it must be like an actual thing in the game, or if they're just doing it as Easter eggs.
Just Easter eggs, or maybe the games exist. Well, they do. I mean, there's
PS3s
everywhere in this game.
Oh, is there? I didn't even see one.
Really?
No.
Oh, wow. Yeah, like I swear I saw like.
I should have looked at the. I didn't look at like just the entertainment.
Yeah, if you look in the entertainment, it was kind of funny. At a certain point, it got like almost too much because I was like. If you go in almost
there would
any
be
house,
an Xbox here.
Yeah, it was like one of these houses would have a Nintendo or an Xbox or something. It's like they all have
PlayStation. It's the only company in 2013.
Yeah, exactly. But it does make sense, and it's cool because all the games. It's like if you looked at the games, it was like Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, Jack and Daxter. So like all their games, but would be on that system, which is kind of cool. But yeah, we get this awesome open world Seattle area. One of my favorite moments happens in this when you go to the guitar shop. Did you do that with the Take On Me?
Yes.
That was awesome. Playing
like this song sounded familiar.
Yeah, exactly. I know when it started I was like, wait a second. Is this Take On Me by A-ha? Like what the frick? But it was an awesome rendition, and once again, if you listen to the lyrics of that song, it's Naughty Dog placing like Easter eggs for the rest of the game and like what's going to happen because the song is like representing the journey you go on. Same with the one that Joel was singing earlier. So it's kind of cool that Naughty Dog places those in because you can really figure out a lot of what's happening for the rest of the game if you listen to those lyrics. Speaking
and you
of,
go to the coffee shop and you talk about Joel, how much he loves coffee, and then you're just like, gosh, I'm gonna kill Abby.
Yeah, I know exactly. Well, and then the moment, before you start singing "Take On Me," what I love is before Dina gets up in the room. You start playing the guitar and you start playing the first few chords of the "If I Should Lose You" song, and that made me freaking tear up too. I'm like, "Are you freaking good?" Because she can't finish it. She just starts it, and then like Dina comes in, and is like, "Oh, what's that?"
I love
She's
that
like,
mechanic that they use too.
Yeah,
the guitar mechanic because it felt like an actual like stringing guitar.
This is one.
Naughty Dog does a good job with like using the controller as like a whole thing.
I was gonna say the same thing. Like the DualShock is actually an awesome controller.
It is.
With
it really
the touch part of it, and then
it
has
the
flashlight. Shaking
the flashlight. So they didn't use that in this game, but the recordings in the first one when you played, the recordings would come through your controller.
Oh, really?
On the like when you played like the voice recordings of stuff, it would come through your controller instead of like on the TV, which is really cool. But they didn't do it in this one. Like you found one. There's only like one recorder in this one, but it came through the TV and it didn't come through the controller.
Interesting. So. Yeah, it is cool that Naughty Dog takes full advantage of like what the DualShock has.
Which that makes sense because they're like their main.
Yeah, their main company.
So. Yeah, like you have to figure out a way to use that.
Just show it off because we have this big A freaking touchscreen button in the middle of the controller. Like, gotta use it. But yeah, the guitar stuff is. Have you seen videos of people like playing like actual songs and stuff? It's cool. Like apparently all the notes are like real guitar notes, and you can just play a song on it, which is really cool. But yeah, those were the parts that like made me like almost cry the most is when she would start playing that song.
Yeah.
Because the lyrics just resonate so well with what happened. And, like you said, there's all these moments where you're just, like, even more like, oh, freaking gonna get Abby. And, let's see. Yeah, the Seattle area, there's a ton of, like, that big open world spot. There's a ton of little spots you can go to.
Did you see Neil Druckmann? Did you get his card?
Oh, is he one of the superheroes? I heard about this, but I don't
Dr.
remember.
Uckman.
Dr.
Druckmann.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, it's like on top of some concrete and stuff. You have to go up there. And
I might have grabbed it. There was a lot of times the cards I didn't like fully look. I just grab it and then be like, oh, cool. But those are interesting too because once again, they play into the story of like how they all have the good and bad bar too, which is cool. Like. Are they good or bad, or are they neutral good, neutral bad? I thought that was cool because that's kind of like with the game too.
Yeah.
And there's more on those collectibles later that I want to talk about. But yeah, and so then Dina at one point. Oh, a huge thing. Dina's pregnant.
Oh yeah.
We get to the theater. Dina's been acting sick, and
I believe Jesse is the dad.
Yeah, and
I think so.
And
because they were dating recently.
Yeah, they were dating right before her and Ellie. And, yeah, he's 100% the dad. At least, I mean, as far as they know. It's not like they can prove it. But at the time they're at. But it's almost for certain, too. Because they also, towards the end of the game, spoilers, they named the kid JJ, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
For Jesse and Joel.
Yep.
And, yeah, Jesse dies, too, spoilers. So many freaking people. Dude, that's one thing about this game.
They get you connected.
My gosh.
And everyone was shocked that they got connected, like... They get you connected and then they kill them, and it's like they did that with the first one too.
Yeah,
remember the son and
the two black guys.
They just kill them both.
Oh my
gosh.
Randomly.
You get caring about them, and then they're just like, oh, they're dead.
Yeah, and the kid gets infected, and then the Sam, I think his name, shoots himself. It's like, oh my gosh, dude.
They do that all the time with these games, and they'll just kill him out of nowhere.
And that's the thing is like,
if you know this universe, why are you so shocked by like Joel dying? Ellie's probably dying in the next one.
And that's the thing too, right? Is it's like. One thing, I understand people getting attached to a character and loving a character. Don't get me wrong. So I watched an interview with Neil Druckmann about everything that kind of happened in the game. And I highly recommend going and watching it because it gives you some insight on a lot of things. And one thing he says, he's like, one thing people don't realize is nobody cares about Joel more than I do. He's like, I created him. Like, I created him as a character. It's like, he's like, I care about him more than anyone.
It's like Stan Lee and Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like... He's like, the only other person that might care about him more is Troy Baker, who plays him. And he's like, so the thing is I didn't want to kill Joel because I wanted to piss off everyone. He's like, I took the story where it should go. And he's like, and in this universe, it's like, people die. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, and this is why I think this game and series works so well, is it's like...
Would you rather have him just get eaten by a clicker in some random cutscene?
Yeah, exactly. And then not have, like, motivation behind his death, and
like, I'm going to kill all the clickers. I'm
going to kill every clicker. This will be my quest. I'll cleanse the world of all infected. No, but yeah, it's like, in real life, one thing this game does, and I know games are games, so it's not like, obviously, they're not going to be like real life, but in reality,
this is what
it would be like. People you love and care about would just die sometimes. Like, because that's how real life is. It's like, you can't, it's almost, that's one thing I loved is like Jesse's death, for example. It's like, just out of nowhere. Like, you go running through the door, boom, dead. And it was like, what the frick, dude?
I liked him.
I liked Jesse. I liked him. Why did he just die like that? And then same with Manny, too. It's like, all of a sudden, Tommy just blows his brains out. It's like,
dead.
Just so quick and, like, abrupt. And that's how it is. And I appreciate that they were willing to go those lengths with certain characters. Owen and Mel. It's like, all these characters. And it's like...
We'll talk about those characters when we get to Abby, because... she has some of the best scenes in The Last of Us.
I agree. And, yeah, it's like, these characters... Naughty Dog is, in my opinion, better than any other game developer in terms of character development.
For sure.
Like,
it's not even close.
By far. It's not... Yeah, it's really not even close. I can't name anyone even close to it.
Maybe... Oh, no. I was going to say Sony Montreal, like with God of War. Yeah. But, like, not really. No.
Yeah. It's like, I think they're close, but not...
Like, you
not
make you like Kratos and Atreus, but it's not like Joel and Ellie.
Yeah, exactly. And like
Nathan Drake and all the people.
Yeah, or have. All the any Naughty Dog. I'm excited to see what they do next, but we'll get to that later. With the characters specifically, I think what was I gonna say? Like with them dying, I think it goes to show that it's like no one is safe in terms of hey, just because they're a main character doesn't mean they can't die like anybody else. Because it's one of those things where when you're watching movies. It's like, and I know it's a silly thing to nitpick, is it's like, oh, they're main characters, of course they're not going to die. But it's like, yeah, if you're in a zombie apocalypse or whatever it is, it's like, people are going to die and randomly. Like, it's always sometimes weird when everyone dies but the main character somehow. It's like, okay, but how?
Convenient.
Very convenient that they all live. And so this game shows it's like, hey, guess what? Jesse, in this scene, he would get shot. Like, Abby would shoot him if he came running out.
Oh, crap, danger.
Yeah,
Guy first,
boom.
dead.
Exactly.
Like,
and then it's like, and not only that, but like with Manny too, it's like, you're caught sitting there talking for a second, boom. Like, he's a target, right? We'll get to that stuff later once again. This game's so hard.
Some stuff that's hilarious. This is like some stuff that made me laugh, but like, there's so many parts in the game where you can just like fall off of stuff. And it's just like randomly like, and Ellie falls, and you're just like,
oh, dude.
Roll credits. And it's just like, wait, what the frick? Because it just goes to black and then it loads. And it gets to you and you're like, wait.
This game has a lot of cut to blacks.
Yeah.
But one thing I loved with Abby specifically is if you stand next to an edge with her, she's like panicking.
Mm-hmm.
Like even
she's scared of heights.
Yeah, she has vertigo, which is a great character thing too. But yeah, I had so many moments where I'd be like, "Can I jump off it?" And I jump, and I'm oh frick, whoops. And sometimes they weren't even drops, and I'm like, "That wouldn't kill you, gosh dang it."
The save system in this game is great.
Oh yeah, dude.
You die, and then you're like respawn like right where you were.
Right where you were.
It's like or something, or like it's not far away. You can get halfway through a boss battle, and it'll save.
Oh my
and you're
gosh,
like, you're
dude.
all good to go.
Speaking of boss battles, we'll get to that later. But holy frick, So Hazen was telling me like last week we were talking, and I was like, "Oh, I got to this really scary part in the game." And then you were like,
"No, you haven't."
I'm like, "There's a part coming up where it was one of the scariest things I've ever played." I'm like, "Really?" And I got to it, dude. I was terrified.
It was freaking horrible.
I had to turn on the lights and stuff because I was like, "This is freaking so terrifying."
With Abby.
Like
I said, she has some of the coolest scenes for sure.
Yeah.
But
anyway, long story short, we'll try to wrap up Ellie stuff. You go on this quest. You kill Nora in a hospital who she pissed you off too because she said like first you thought, oh, she's chill, she's cool, but then she's like, that jerk got what was coming to him or something like that about Joel, and then so you're like, then you get this
and she seemed calm, and then it was like, oh, you mother effer.
Yeah, exactly. And you chase her down, you get this brutal scene where it's like it's making you press square.
You go down to the this is a different person. Sorry.
Yeah, Nora's the black girl at the hospital. One of the
that's what I was thinking about when you go down with the spores.
Oh, yeah.
You chase her down, and she goes into the spores. She's not immune. Ellie is. And you go down there, and she's, like, dying. And she's like, you're her. You're the immune one. And it's like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah. It's so cool. And in that
I love how they use in a lot of the scenes, they use Ellie's immune system. Like, she's immune as, like, a way to defeat enemies.
Like the bite later on, too. That was an awesome part. But when she goes down, into that spore room, that was the first scene where you're like, holy frick. Because here's the thing, is the entire game, or for the beginning of the game, you are with Ellie 100% where you're like, I'm going to kill these people. And it makes you press square to like hack her up. It's like, boom. And then you have to press square again, it's like, boom. And it's like blood splatting on her face and you're like, holy
I didn't press square. I was trying to see like what it would do. I was like, and she just sits there like getting angrier and angrier. And it's like, okay.
I tried. That's funny. I tried the exact same thing. I'm like, I wonder if you could not continue or something. But of course, it's a linear story, so you have to do it. But
she just dies of infection. She's like, oh. You're like,
it's like, dang it! I kind of wanted to smack now. But it's like it's making you do that, and that's the first moment where you start to realize, like, dang, Ellie's off the deep end right now, and you understand why, obviously. Sure. But it starts to make you like question your motivation a little bit, and that becomes more apparent later on, especially with Owen and Mel. But once again, we'll try to get further into this. You run into the Scars, who are awesome villains, I think. Or
it's like a cult.
A really cool cult.
Religious cult.
Mm-hmm. And I thought their stuff was freaky, too, with the whistling. Mm-hmm. Like, sitting in the
you kind of learn the whistles, too. Like, what it means when they whistle.
Like, the communication.
But a lot of times it's just communication. So if you take one out after they whistle, like, you have some time to take out another one.
Yeah.
So
and then, like, one of the whistles means, like, hey, over here or something.
Here,
it's like
dead here, or,
Yeah, like those whistles too. I love the color palette and stuff representing the Scars, like the torches in the distance. Mm-hmm. Every time you see those, you're like, oh frick, here we go. I'm gonna have to fight some Scars. Real fast. So you have to go. You work at 3, right? Just make sure.
3-ish, yeah.
Okay,
we got time.
Okay, cool. And so you go through the Scar moment, and then after that, you eventually. You run into Jesse. You go to you get a lead that Abby's at this place called Hillcrest.
Yeah.
And this was the moment you were supposed to run into Joel, where the trailers trick you into thinking it was Joel, but it turns out to be Jesse. He's like, you didn't think I was going to let you do this on your own, which is a great fake out once again. And once certain things happen in the game, I was questioning. I was like, are they even going to do that scene from the trailer? Because
I didn't see a lot of the trailer scenes.
Yeah, I think some of them honestly they just didn't use because it was a smart move, I guess. But yeah, and so then you're with Jesse. You get back to the theater. He finds out that Dean is pregnant, not from her, but from Ellie. And then
I think he kind of figures it out because she's like sick, but there's no real reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like
she's like, is she pregnant?
She's pregnant, and she's like, yeah,
yeah. I can't lie at this point. And then I'm trying to, how does Tommy come back into the fold? Because that's right, you go to the aquarium. So on your way to the aquarium, you go with Jesse because you leave Dina at the theater, and then Jesse ends up deciding he's like, I'm going after Tommy. Like, and Ellie lies to him.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, we're going after Tommy. I'm not going after Abby now. I'm over it. And then she basically just lies to Jesse. And then at a certain point, Ellie's like, I'm going after Abby. And Jesse's like, oh, I'm going after Tommy. And so they split up. You, as Ellie, go to the aquarium where you think Abby is. And you get this scene that will play big significance later on. But at this point, you don't fully understand it. But Mel's pregnant, which you learn about later. But
you learn about after you kill her. And Owen's like, she's pregnant.
She's pregnant, yeah. And this scene is like, I'm excited to play the game again because this scene's going to play out completely differently on a second playthrough. Because at this point, you're still kind of like, yeah, I still kind of hate you guys because it's like you guys killed Joel. So, but
I don't really care.
Yeah, it's like I don't really care. It's like it's
that is unborn. Yeah,
yeah. And so you stab, like Owen tries to protect Mel, rightfully so, because she's pregnant, and then in the process he gets stabbed, and then Mel tries to attack you, and you kill Mel.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ellie immediately regrets it, you can tell, and she's like in shock, shaking, and all of a sudden Tommy and Jesse come running in, and I didn't pick up on this the first time until later, but she drops her map.
Yep.
And that's how Abby finds her later.
I was like, because they cut to it and they show the map.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the first time you're playing as Ellie, they cut to the map, and I'm like, that's how she's gonna find it.
Okay. You see, I was probably just so in shock from the killing that I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
But so then you go back to the theater, and you get this moment once again where all of a sudden Tommy's like, oh, I'm gonna go out back real fast, and then you hear some rustling. Jesse and Ellie run after her through the door. Jesse dead immediately, and then Ellie puts her hands up. She's like, please don't kill him. And I was so worried in this moment because I'm like, is she gonna freaking kill Joel and Tommy? Are you effing kidding me?
And like every character
yeah, exactly. I'm like, is she gonna kill everyone? And then we all of a sudden get this cut to black. She's like, she points the gun at Ellie, and then cut to black, and you're like, what the heck is gonna happen? And all of a sudden, you pick up
Seattle, day one. And you're like, wait, what the frick?
I was like,
you start playing as Abby.
Yeah, and once again, and you're in the Seattle Stadium.
Mm-hmm. She's yoked,
dude. She's jacked.
She's insane.
And one thing is so in the interview I watched, one of the questions Neil Druckmann received was like, someone was like, why is Abby so jacked or something like that? And he was like, well, if you think about it, from her story, and we'll get to it later, it's like she's had 4 years after her dad dies, and she joins this militia group. It's like, what is she doing in her spare time? She's freaking
literally, she walks outside of her room, and there's a huge gym right there.
Yeah.
Like, and then they're eating, they have tons of food.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and she's working out crazy. She's going on these patrols, and she's gearing up to kill Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she wants to become something, like, she wants to become a machine so she can kill Joel. Like, yeah. I think that makes total sense when you look at it from that perspective. But I can understand how at first you're like, holy crap, she is jacked. She's jacked bigger than anyone in the game, like by far.
Oh no! It cuts the first thing it cuts to after that is you playing as Abby with her dad.
You're right.
With her dad
in Salt Lake.
Yep, in Salt Lake.
Yep.
Going to So her dad. You play as her dad, who is the doctor that Joel kills at the end of The Last of Us, the first one.
Yeah.
And then you basically go with a scene where you're looking for your dad in the Hogel Zoo.
The Hogel Zoo, which is
great.
Awesome.
It's like,
super cool, yeah.
It's right where we are.
Uh-huh.
Which I think that's why it gets points from a lot of people too, is because a lot of the stuff there's cut tie-ins to certain areas they live in. Mm-hmm. So they're like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Especially for us.
Yeah, and honestly,
because this game's based basically out of Salt Lake. The big stuff in
awesome.
This game happens in Salt Lake.
Like literally the climax of the last game ended in Salt Lake, which is so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, and honestly, that does give me kind of like, it did make me like Abby a bit more. I'm like, oh, they're from Salt Lake. That's cool. But Yeah, so you're in the Hokel Zoo chasing down, like, there's this zebra.
There's a zebra that's caught in the wire and the dad.
Owen's there. And
Owen comes after, though, but because the dad had run away when he's not supposed to, and he's, like, trying to help the zebra.
Yeah.
Since he's such a doctor. I think he's probably a veterinarian because he cares about animals so much.
Yeah. Probably maybe
doctor,
both. Yeah.
You know?
And in this time, you have to just be whatever works. Yeah.
And yeah, he finds a zebra, and then Owen comes, and they're like, "Oh, we have this immune girl. You have to come and see her." And he's like, "That's not possible." Yeah. And then you go up there, and that happens.
So good. And in this moment, as soon as this transition happens, where all of a sudden you're playing as Abby in Salt Lake, and as soon as I saw the guy, for some reason I knew. Like, even though you can't tell he's a doctor at this point, I was like, "Oh my gosh, is that gonna be the doctor from the end of the game?" Because you see, like, at the beginning, it's like I had a feeling we were in Salt Lake. And
you can see the mountains.
You can see the mountain. It looked like Salt Lake. And so I was like, is this going to be like the doctor or something? And then, when it's revealed, like, we have this patient, and all of a sudden it pans up and you see St. Mary's Hospital. And you're like, holy frick, okay. This is all going to make sense. And Naughty Dog is pulling, like, this 180 on us where now we're going to have to play from the villain antagonist perspective and see her side of the story. And this is probably what I think is maybe some of the most polarizing stuff in the game, at least for some people. Like, once again, we were talking, it's a very vocal minority that is complaining about this. But I thought it was awesome.
You get to play as the bad guy.
Playing as the bad guy and seeing their perspective. Because this is one thing, when in like screenwriting classes or writing classes in general, one thing we always talk about and learn about is if you want a good villain, you have to have good motivation. Because otherwise they're a bad villain. It's like, if you don't understand what they're doing, then they're a flat villain where it's like, I just want to destroy the world, haha. It's like, that's boring. We've seen that before. It's like, if they have a good motivation, and here's the thing, it's like, a villain needs to be looked at from their perspective as the hero. Mm-hmm. And that is 100% the case with Abby. Once again, this interview I was watching, Ashley Johnson, who plays Ellie, one thing I liked that she said is in her opinion, she's like, in my opinion, I don't think there is a villain in this game.
There kind of isn't.
There is, and when she said that, I was like, that makes total sense. There's not. Like, really, you think Abby's the bad guy until you start playing as her. Yeah. And then you totally get why she does what she does, is because, once again, like you were saying, you then play the moment from Salt Lake right after Joel murders all the doctors. Like, he kills a bunch of innocent people, like, straight up.
Like, a lot of people.
A lot of people, including Marlene.
All his friends.
All of his friends, and it's like...
her friends.
Yeah, and once again, you don't blame Joel necessarily for what he did, because you understand why he did it, but he did kill innocent people. Like, he made a decision, and whether you agree with it or not, it's like every action you do has consequences. And the action Joel chose to do had consequences. He was hunted down for it eventually. Mm-hmm. And that's why this story is so good, is because, a lot of people after the first one were like, we don't need a second one because, like, we don't know what would the story be. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think this is the perfect story, because it's like, guess what? Joel murdered a bunch of innocent people. What are the consequences for that? Like, I personally don't think Joel's a bad person at all, because like, I think most people in his situation would have probably done the same thing if it meant saving, like, your daughter. And so it's like,
the doctor says he would have done it.
Yeah, and even Abby, it's like, what was I going to say? I keep losing my train of thought. But it's like, from each perspective, you can understand why they're doing what they're doing. That's what I think is so brilliant, is it's like, Joel's motivation for doing it, you're like, yeah, I get it. Like, he wants to protect his daughter. And then Abby's motivation for hunting down Joel, it's like, yeah, I get it. You murdered my dad. It's like,
you murdered my actual dad.
You murdered my actual dad and a bunch of innocent people. That, like, you basically murdered my entire, like, family at the time, because that's where the Fireflies were stationed. And we learned that the Fireflies are basically wiped out after that.
They're gone.
And
they're not.
Yes, not fully, but we're set up to believe that, yeah, for the most part, they're all wiped out, and that's why Abby and her crew from Salt Lake, including Owen and stuff, end up leaving to Seattle to go join the Wolves and stuff. And so, yeah, it's like, you totally get her motivation and stuff right away, and then once again, we go into the stadium. And for me, for a second, so when I was playing this game, I was texting Hasten, and Hasten was like, oh, where are you at and stuff, and I'm like, I think I'm almost done. This was right before I started playing as Abby, I was like, I think I'm right at the end. And I was like, I just got to this part, and you were like, no, you're like barely halfway.
I was trying to not say anything because you weren't even at the part where Jesse gets killed.
Yeah,
and I was like, I can't. What do I say here? I was like, oh, you're not even close.
Yeah,
and that's like,
you're like you're barely halfway, and I was like, what? Like, there's no way. I was like, I have to be close. And then so when I started
fact
playing,
checked me online. Using that website.
Well, yeah, I looked up, I'm like, there's no way. Well, and it's because I was just, I guess, playing the game a lot slower than some people. But, once you started playing as Abby, for a minute, I was, like, questioning. I was like, when you go on the mission and stuff with Manny and Mel, I was starting to question. I was like, am I going to be playing as her for a long time? I didn't know, because all of a sudden I could access my backpack, and I had upgrades.
Yeah, you had a ton of... There's so many upgrades in this game.
Literally just as many as Ellie had, and so I was like, what the frick? Am I going to be playing as her as a long time now? Because I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting maybe once I played as her in Salt Lake and then in the Seattle Stadium, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to play as her for like a mission or something like that. And it'll cut back, and then all of a sudden you realize you're in it for the long haul. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a full nother game now.
They won 2 and 3.
Yeah, they made them all in one game. This is part 2 and 3 and 4. But yeah, what do you want to talk about with Abby's story?
Gosh, there's a lot of scenes. I'm trying to remember them all. So, there's the first scene where you go out on a mission, for some reason, with Mel. I didn't really understand
I didn't understand that either.
She's pregnant.
That was weird.
I get Manny's, trying to bring them together, but, maybe don't bring her on the mission.
I agree 100%.
And I think... not the smartest idea.
I understand the reason behind it for the storytelling purpose, because it's like, oh, we have to get people to like Mel, because you murder her later on. Sure. So it's like... Or earlier on. And so I understood it from that perspective, but yeah, I was like... She's pregnant. Why are you bringing her on this freaking mission? I don't care what the reason is. That seems stupid. But yeah, I agree with that. Oh, one thing I was going to say is with Manny. So I like Manny as a character, but one thing I wanted to bring up is I actually think Manny would have been a great Uncharted character.
I do too.
Because he's very quippy. He reminds me of Nathan Drake a bit.
He looks a lot like Neil Druckmann.
He does. I think they based it off.
I think they did.
Because he looks just like Neil Druckmann. But yeah, as soon as he started talking and stuff, I was like, okay, I like him as a character, but I feel like he'd fit better in an Uncharted universe rather than Last of Us. Because sometimes, his quips, I was like, would people really be saying that when there's, a monster trying to kill them right here? It's I don't know. But, yeah, I like him as a character, but once again, I just think he would have been better suited for, Uncharted or something. Anyway, yeah, so with Abby's story... I do like the characters that we end up meeting with her, because at the very beginning, with Ellie, it's once again, we were saying you hate those characters. Yeah. You're immediately set up to just hate them for no reason. You have a reason. For killing Joel. But you end up realizing it's man, all of these characters were just helping their friend. Yeah. And you completely understand their motivation. And going to Owen is actually grew to be one of my favorite characters in the game, actually. Yeah. I, when I first...
Same as Abby. Abby becomes one of my favorite characters. Me too. And so does, not so much Mel, because she's kind of a douchebag. But, but yeah, they just do great jobs with that.
Yeah, and the thing is it's I agree with you 100%. I really don't understand the hate for Abby. Because, I understand...
I get if you just played the first part.
And that's the thing. That's why.
And then you shut your console off.
Yeah, exactly. It's this is why people need context, and why I feel like a lot of people that hate the game or whatever only watched the first hour or whatever saw the cutscene where Joel gets murdered, and that you had to play as her and kill, and then basically lead up to the killing. It's I can see how you'd hate that, but you have to play the game to understand everything. Because as soon as you play as Abby, I grew to like her pretty fast. I was like, oh wow, okay, she had a clear motivation for what she did. She's actually a good person too. Yeah. That's one thing that you really I think the moment
she cares about random people.
Yeah,
and just like Owen.
Exactly.
Owen does too.
And that was the moment I think that made me really like Abby. It was when she went back to save Levin Yara. Is because I was like, okay, she's like Joel.
She's like, you guys got to get out of here, but. And then she's like, oh, I got to go back and check on him.
Yeah. And that moment was so good, too, because I think that was the moment that made me realize it's okay, she is not a bad person. It's she made a mistake in the name of revenge, which a lot of people do. And ultimately, we'll kind of touch on it now, but I think the theme of this game, there's a ton of themes. Like, obviously, this game's full of messages and themes, but one of the biggest themes is, like, revenge is a thirst that you will not quench.
Yeah.
Like, going to do something in the name of revenge will ultimately leave you dissatisfied. And I think that's clear through this game. We have two perspectives, two characters, and Abby and Ellie are two sides of the same coin. It's like, and that's one thing that I loved, is that Abby actually collects coins, and that Ellie collects cards that are about good and evil. Because it's so symbolic, because it's like Abby and Ellie are the same character. They really are. They have the same motivation for what they're doing. And you learn that through the progress of this game. And both of them are like this juxtaposition of, and dichotomy of good and evil, and, you know, through what they're doing. And it's like, I don't know, I just thought it was so good, because this game shows you, it's like, sometimes the bad guy, or the person you think is the bad guy, has reason or motivation for what they're doing. They're maybe not the bad guy, and it's like, maybe you're both kind of good and bad.
Yeah.
It's like, Ellie isn't fully a hero in this game.
No, definitely not.
It's like,
she kind of plays as the villain.
Yeah, and there's literally a part where
you are the villain.
Where it's like, well,
Ellie's
the villain.
And you're
it's
playing
like,
as Abby.
Yeah, that part was really crazy too, because it's like, wow, it makes you kind of realize, like, man, is Ellie kind of the villain in this game in some ways? It's like, so is Abby. Like, that's why I think it's like, they both play both parts. There's no real villain. It's both of them play the hero and villain of this story. And yeah, that's why I grew to like Abby so much, is because the moment, you know, she kind of, I saw Neil Druckmann talking about it, and he's like, Abby's goal was to kill Joel. For 4 years, she became this machine to hunt down Joel, kill him. And so once she did, she really didn't know what her life was, like her goal anymore, her point. And so the moment where you do this scene like multiple times, where you're in the Salt Lake Hospital, and you walk down the hallway as her and go into the room. You do it like 3 times. And each time it's different. And I think the final one is you walk in and it shows Yara and Lev, and they're like strung up or something, like hanging or something. And Abby wakes up right after the scene where she had sex with Owen, and she realizes, like, frick, like, I care about these guys. I care about that. Like, I'm a good person. Like, I need to. They were innocent. And that, like, gosh, dude, that's another thing too, is like, this game sets up, it's like all these factions, all these gangs or groups, or you got the wolves, you got the fireflies, you got the scars, the later on in California you got the
crazy other group
the rattlers or something
destroy.
Like that. Yeah. And it's like it shows, it's like you immediately, when you start playing the game, you think, man, these scars are awful. They're cult. They're a creepy cult. F them. You know, it's like, I'm gonna kill them all. And through Yara and Lev, you start to realize, and same with the wolves, with Abby, it's like you realize, man, they're all just trying to survive. Mm-hmm. They're like, everyone is just trying to survive. Yeah, there's bad people in these groups, but it's like most of the people in these groups are good people. They're just trying to survive. Mm-hmm. And Yara and Lev grew to be 2 of my favorite characters in the game. And once again, Yara just murdered. It's like, holy frick, once again, another character just killed.
She saves, who she saves?
She saves Abby. Abby and
oh, that's right, she saves Abby.
Lev, because there's Isaac,
was going
to shoot him. And once again, this game shows, it's like Isaac and some of the wolves were following and doing what they were doing purely blindly. Like, they were doing it just because they're like, oh, Scar equals bad. You know,
bad
kill.
People.
Scar,
bad,
kill.
Bad.
Yeah, exactly. Murder. Cult must murder cult. And it's like, it goes to show with Yara and Lev, it's like, they're not all bad. Like, they're all, once again, just trying to survive, and they're all human, and yeah, they do things differently. And they're fighting wolves because the wolves are fighting them, and then it's like,
it's really cool. They show like a whole backstory and how there was peace at one point, and and then like someone happened, like something they like in the middle of, like, this should be like probably a cutscene, like where they talk about it, but you're just in the middle of gameplay and they're talking about the whole backstory of the wolves and the scars, and it's because the Yara and Lev are scars, and she's a wolf, so it's like,
yeah, it's super
they
cool.
both have different side of views from it.
And yeah, like you're saying, that there was like at one point where they made a treaty or something, and there was peace.
There's peace, and then I think
someone started a fight.
Yeah, the wolves like killed some kids or something, but they were like they provoked us, so we had to.
Yeah, and then like they both are like, oh, they provoked us, no, they provoked us, and then it starts this war again. And it's like, I don't know, I just thought it was super cool to be able to play and show these characters from each like faction and group and realize, dang, they're not all bad. It's like, because there's moments where you're playing as Ellie or Abby and you're like killing these scars and you're just doing it so blindly. You're like, these guys are bad,
bad
kill,
murder.
Murder. And it's like, man, this game makes you realize they're not all bad. Yeah, there are bad ones, but yeah.
Is the no, that's a wolf. I was gonna say, when you're playing as Ellie and she's playing the PSP.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And you come up and you just stab her right in the throat.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Did you notice she comes in play?
Yeah,
later or in a flashback as a wolf.
Yeah,
it's like really cool. I was like, what the frick?
Yeah,
one of the random scars I killed, or the wolves I killed as Ellie, like comes in play with Abby, and it's like not even a character that is
like a main character
anywhere in there.
Yeah, she's like in it really briefly, like she's talking to Abby or something. Or like you show up at the hospital.
Yeah, and she's like she's like doing the medical checklist.
Hey, Abby. Yeah, it's right before the really scary scene. But yeah, like, world building once again and character development for a character that it's like, who even cares? But they make you care, and they make you realize it's like, yeah, that scene where you come up out of the water, you just freaking murder her.
Yeah,
it's like playing the PSP. She was just enjoying playing games, and then you just kill her.
That's me, and like you have a PSP in the apocalypse, and you're just playing, sitting next to some water. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. But you don't think something's gonna come up out of the water?
I wanted to talk about collectibles real quick because it was like, it made me feel like I was like, if I was in the apocalypse, I would find something this stupid to collect. Because me and you are both collectors, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
why are you collecting?
Big time though. Like that
why are you collecting these cards, Ellie?
Especially right now.
I'm jealous. You guys are actually gonna be able to finish a collection.
For real. Well, and like the states one too with the coins. It's like, man, you could get all 50 states and complete the collection or whatever.
Can you though?
I mean, I guess I think she was getting all the same year too. If I'm honest, it was like 2002.
Probably.
Which I'm assuming is the year. Well, no, that wouldn't make sense. I was gonna say that was the year she was born, but no, because she's about the same.
It was all the same year.
Yeah, they were all. I think they were all
that.
2002. So I think she was like specifically collecting all of them from that year, which is kind of cool. That year must have some sort of significance to her, but it wouldn't. It was
the Olympics in Salt Lake at that year. I don't know if maybe that's something.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe more money was circulated that time. I don't know.
And she's from Salt Lake, so maybe that's a big deal for her. I don't know. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
I don't know that's probably not it. But.
Probably, yeah. But it could be when her dad was born, maybe? I don't know, because if the game takes place in 2039...
Gosh, it's so far ahead.
Yeah, because...
It looks like it'd be like same period, because everything pauses at 2013. You don't get any of the stuff after that.
Yeah, and the game, takes place 2030. It totally could be the year her dad was born or something. Which is weird to think about, because that'd be like Tanner's age or something.
Should we talk about that horror scene that got you?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. Okay.
It's freaking. You're going through is it the bottom of the hospital? With Abby.
So it's like you show up because you're looking for meds for Yara.
Because she's the wolf's like shattered her arm.
Oh my gosh,
like
dude,
horribly.
Like, the hammer.
No, the scars did it.
Yeah.
The scars did it because Lev is shaved her head, shaved his head. She's trans.
Yeah.
And she shaved her head, and it's like that's like against the rules.
Yeah.
You shave your head, you die.
Mm-hmm. Which is like a sin. It's a major sin.
No wonder this is a cult.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're going to get meds for her in the hospital, and you're like, look for an ambulance. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you get down there, and you're going through this whole like. The bottom of the hospital
freaky, it's like a quarantine.
Is a quarantine zone, so you can tell like what happened when the breakout happened.
Yeah,
and it just went crazy one time, and like everyone just evacuated, and no one ever went back.
This is the freakiest part of the game by far, and I think the freakiest thing even from the first game, like
which the Last of Us does so good with horror.
Yeah,
because the zombies in that game are terrifying. The sounds they make,
the clickers. Oh, we're getting some flashing lights here. Is it stormy outside?
It's raining. Yeah. I think so. But what was I saying? They do so good with sound design. Like there's clickers. They added 3 different zombie types.
Yeah, there's like the stalkers now, which those are the ones that freak me out the most because they're like clickers, but
you can't tell where they are.
Yeah, they don't show up.
I use listen mode all the time.
Me too.
I was watching some people play and they weren't using listen mode, and I'm like, use listen mode. They're right there.
Dude, same. I know. Like I was watching some people play too later, and I was like, why the frick are they not using listen mode? Like they're just casually running through. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what the heck are you doing? But then, yeah, with like the stalkers though, they don't show up on the listen mode a lot of times.
Yeah.
And so that freaks me out because you would never know where they're at. It's like, it reminds me of detective mode in the Arkham games where it's like, you don't even realize, but you're just playing the entire game in detective mode.
Yeah, I just replayed Arkham Asylum, and like I would play half the game in detective mode. So I was like, okay, I know there's people probably around here.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna wait. I'll see when they're coming exactly. And so it's like half the time I'm in listen mode, but when you can't see those guys, it's so freaking terrifying. Gosh dang it! Hopefully the power doesn't cut. Otherwise, you guys will be listening to us in the dark. Oh well.
Yeah. You just need audio.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll open this blind.
Yeah, there we go. But then you go, so you go into real fast before we get to the ambulance thing. I was just gonna point out a moment with the scars where Lev is also saying like Abby's like, oh, you guys are just a creepy cult or something. Like, why are you killing people? And then Lev is like, that's not what we stood for. That's not what we stood for.
Our leader died.
People took our words and like changed them and stuff. And like that is so relevant to how things are nowadays too, where it's like people take fake news, and they take words and they change it to the way they want to. And so it's like, I just thought that was a really interesting thing because then that makes you think about the Scars not being bad people. Once again, it's just like a group of people that have changed the meaning behind.
Which they kind of keep the Scars as bad people the whole time.
Yeah, mostly.
Really.
Besides,
the Scars are just bad. Like, they'll kill you.
Well, and then even like freaking their mom just like...
Yeah, their mom, she shaves her head and the mom was like...
chases him down.
Willing to kill them. I can't imagine me shaving my head in the apocalypse and be like... Oh,
you would be getting
as a statement, and my mom's like... Rah!
Like, must die.
She wouldn't stop. And that was crazy too when you go find Lev in the place.
The house.
And she's like sitting in the corner, she's like, she wouldn't stop coming after me.
Mm-hmm.
So like Lev had to kill her mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was messed up. Anyway, going back to, you go down into the quarantine zone, and then you have to find the ambulance. And this whole scene's freaky. But then you get into the ambulance.
I knew something was coming.
I was too.
Like, oh, this is going to be terrible. There's going to be like a huge pack of clickers or something.
Yeah, I was expecting like, something along those lines. Like, I was just expecting that, I'm going to get dropped into like one of those arenas where all of a sudden there's a bunch of things chasing after you and you just have to shotgun to death. But instead we get this massive, I think it's called the Rat King.
Yeah, I don't even know how this happens. Like, I don't know if like maybe they just threw dead bodies in a pile at the hospital. I'm
assuming that must have been the case.
Because people were dying, and then they just like all formed together or something.
Yeah, that has to be it, because as we know with the clickers, their skin and stuff just like starts to break out, and so if that happens and then they grow in together, did you ever play Inside?
I haven't yet, no.
Okay.
I played like the first little bit of it, but
I won't say anything, but it reminds me of something in that, but it's like, we get this boss fight now, this is freaking terrifying too. I hated this.
That took me a long time too to beat, because it's hard.
It's way hard.
Like, the thing doesn't die, and you shoot it. Like, I had like 3 Molotovs, and I'm like throwing Molotovs. And,
dude, I tried so many strategies, like,
or pipe bombs.
The first time, like, I would get too scared running away, because if I ran away, I was like, because eventually it breaks off. One of the ones breaks off into this fast clicker. And he's, like, invincible, too. You can't kill him, because you have to fight him right after this.
Yeah.
And so I just got sick of running away, because I'm like, I'm going to run away. This guy's going to chase me. I can't get away, and then I just keep getting screwed. Yeah.
It's huge and fast.
It was so hard.
It's like 10 or 12 clickers connected together.
Uh-huh.
It's like they're making this horrifying sound.
Yeah. And so eventually, I just stood my ground and would chuck Molotovs, shotgun. I literally wasted like all my ammo.
I did too.
I was just like,
kind of have to.
Yeah, and I wanted to, because I was like, I just want to get this over with. I don't care if I have to scavenge so much on the next segment. I just want to get this over with, because this guy's terrifying. Eventually, you kill him, and then the one guy runs off. The other half, which I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me!
I have to fight this,
this guy
snake-looking thing.
And you go through the vents, and then he pulls you down, and you have to fight him one-on-one, and he takes like another ton of, like, a bunch of your ammo.
You're like, I don't have much more.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, gosh dang, I'm gonna have to do this again. Anyway, you kill him, you finally get out, thank goodness, because the scene was like the scariest thing of the whole game by far.
It was terrifying.
And then you get
supplies for
the supplies Yara. For Yara. You get back to the aquarium, speaking of which, Owen essentially cheats on Mel with
Abby.
And we know that Abby and Owen had a relationship way before. It kind of fell apart, I think, because of, once again, Abby's drive to kill Joel. She was so obsessed. And dude, oh my gosh, we got to get to some of this stuff later too, because like, it's so interesting how similar Abby and Ellie's story really is, because Abby essentially drives away everyone in her life in the pursuit of revenge. And if you think about it, the same thing happens with Ellie at the end of the game. Like, everyone she loved is gone. And I'm just going to touch on this while I'm thinking about it, because I saw someone post this, and I was like, it hit me hard. I was like, oh, frick. Ellie says in the first game, when she's talking to... what are the two black guys' names? There's Sam and then the kid.
I can't remember.
One of them. She's talking to
Sam
the kid.
is the kid.
Okay. And so she's talking to Sam, and Sam's like... aren't you scared of the infected or whatever? And Ellie's like, no. And he's like, what are you scared of? And Ellie's like, I'm scared of being alone.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Oh my gosh, and literally this game ends with Ellie being alone. It's so sad. Oh my gosh, dude. It's giving me like chills just thinking about it. It's so messed up. But yeah, it's like it came full circle, and it goes to show like their drive for revenge has pushed them away from everyone they love. And so, like, Owen ends up hooking up with Mel. She gets pregnant, and it's like their relationship can't work out now. It's like, because they want to go to Santa Barbara. So, Owen
is like this character who is just like done. He doesn't want to be fighting anymore, because he was with the Fireflies, who were constantly fighting.
Yeah.
Then he went to the Wolves, who were constantly fighting, and he's just like, he wants to be done. He just wants to live a life. Without fighting, which that brings you to him, and you're like, yeah, I get that.
I get it.
Like.
Well,
I would probably want that too.
Speaking of, I loved the aquarium also.
It was really cool.
The aquarium's super cool.
I wonder if it's like a big thing in Seattle, the aquarium.
I wonder too. But and some of my favorite moments from this game are the the story moments where you're just walking through like either the dinosaur museum or the aquarium or something, and there's just like these silly mini games too, where it's like you play fetch with the dog, or you have the bow and arrow contest or something. Like, those are some of my favorite moments. And real fast, because we skipped over it, I want to go back real fast to the dinosaur museum part, because this for me was one of my favorite parts of the game, because I used to love dinosaurs. I still do, but like going there, and the moment where you go up into the space room and Joel and Ellie get in the spaceship and she pretends like she's taking off, she's listening to the thing. Oh my gosh, dude. That part had me crying too.
Yeah.
I thought that moment was so awesome. And it was like, it really shows that Ellie does love Joel. Mm-hmm. And obviously we know Joel loves Ellie. But it's one of those things where throughout the game you're kind of questioning, like, man,
she's
Ellie's
just mad
really
that, like, Ellie just wanted to be...
Told the truth.
And she goes... And there's a scene where they... Did we talk about that? Where they meet up in... So Ellie in the middle. It's a flashback. Ellie goes back to Salt Lake City.
Oh yeah.
She runs away from
that,
Jackson and goes to Salt Lake City, and then Joel finds her, and she's like, "Tell me about the truth, or I'm not effing coming back."
Yeah.
Like, and then Joel just tells her the truth.
And I like the way he said it too. He's
like, "I'll come back, but I don't know if I'll ever live this down."
That's
what Ellie says.
Yeah, Ellie's like, "I don't know if I can ever forgive you," or something like that. And I love what Joel says when he tells her too, because he's just like. I think all he says is like, they were trying to hurt you, or they were trying to hurt you, and I saved you. And that's like all he said.
And then he's like, and if I had to run back that whole situation again,
I would do it again.
Yeah.
It's like gosh, dang it, Joel. Love you, Joel. Yeah. And it's like, and you can 100% understand why Ellie's mad, because it's like
her life would have mattered.
Yeah, and it's like it wasn't his decision to make, frankly, but. He made a decision, and he has to live with those consequences. And you understand each character's motivation and why they did what they did. And so, yeah, Ellie's mad at Joel, and essentially we get the idea that they go like a year or something without kind of talking, a year or two. And we get the flashback of Joel in towards the end of the game, where they're at the dance, which is the trailer we saw like 2 or 3 years ago too.
Yep. And it was the place, like I saw the thing, and it was like it was the place where they had the whole room set up to look like it. Did you notice?
Yeah,
that? The whole room was like, it was like, wait, this is that room.
Yeah, it was actually really cool. I remember at the time everyone was like, what the frick, why'd they do this? But it was actually really cool. And I know we're skipping around a bunch right here, but it kind of just works better for the flow of each story. But it's like, yeah, we get this moment where we've heard it talked about a bunch, but it's where Ellie and Dina first kiss. And then, we are introduced to Jesse, and he's like, "Oh, I bet you guys will get," or Ellie's like, "I bet you guys will get back together in a couple weeks or whatever." Clearly that doesn't happen. But
just gets his head blown off.
Yeah. And there are moments where you kind of start to worry about that, though, earlier in the game where he first shows up at the theater and Dina's kind of like taking care of him. You're like, get your freaking hands over. Not right now. Gosh, it's Ellie and Dina. What was I going to say? Oh, and then we get the moment where Joel shows up, gets mad at the guy. Yeah. And then Ellie kind of gets defensive, being like, I don't need you to save me or whatever. And at first you're thinking it's kind of devastating because you're thinking that's the last thing she said to him, essentially, before he dies. But
well, she says the last thing she says to him is "Get the F up, Joel."
Yeah.
But
yeah, true. Yeah, I guess that's true. But then there's one more flashback and we'll save that. We'll save that for the very end because that's the last moment in the game.
Can we talk about when Abby gets to the movie theater?
Yes.
So Abby goes back to the aquarium and finds that you killed Joel. Or no, you killed Mel and Owen.
And Mel. Yeah.
And she just has like this moment where she's like, I'm going to kill her now.
Yeah.
Like, she thinks it's Tommy. She thinks Tommy's the only one that does
we have to talk about that moment too real fast.
Yeah.
It's so cool because there's the moment where all of a sudden you run into Manny and you're getting sniped at.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this moment was so awesome because
cool.
For some reason I didn't know it was Tommy. Like, I was just thinking it was some Scar. Yeah. Like, I was like, man, this Scar's insane.
Well, I know there was other trespassers, too.
Yeah.
Like, they would call them trespassers, and they're like, they're not allowed to be there.
Yeah.
And there was more than just you guys. Like, there was a few other people.
That's true. Yeah, and so, like, I didn't know who... for some reason, I didn't connect it was Tommy, and so I was just like, this guy's freaking insane, dude. Like, and once again, this is a connects back to the scene where you're with Tommy on the mountainside, and he's, like, an expert sniper.
Yeah.
And you're learning how to snipe. He teaches Ellie how to snipe. So it's like... This scene makes sense, and you're running through with Manny, and you're going through... Also, Manny just gets murdered, which was awesome. Like, crazy moment. And then you go into the, like, this bar or something, and you're hiding from the guy. And I'm like, this guy's insane. I could not kill him. I was like, I swear I shot him multiple times. I'm like, this guy's not, like, dying. So eventually you go out the door, and all of a sudden you realize it's Tommy. And that was a great moment, too. And then that, I think, is what... leads you
to the aquarium.
Yep. Where you then find Owen and Mel dead, which is, gosh, dude, just making you actually care about these characters. Because, like I was saying, Owen, I really started to like Owen as a character a lot, and so playing this again, it's gonna be so sad to actually be like, man, I just killed him. Like,
it's terrible.
No reason, essentially. And we get the flashback too of Joel's death, where it's like. He was standing up, being like, "Hey, we came here for him. That's it." Like they wanted, a lot of them wanted to kill Ellie too.
Yeah.
But he was like, "No, we're done. Like we came here for Joel. That's what we did. We're out now." And so they left Tommy and Ellie alive. And so I liked that a lot for his character because it made you realize like he's probably the most human out of all of them in terms of just caring about people. But yeah, moving on to
you get to the theater and you play as Abby trying to kill Ellie. Mm-hmm. And
which was interesting.
This is something I wanted to talk about. During that fight scene when you're trying to take Ellie out, did you realize Ellie bit Abby?
Really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see
She
that.
bit Abby. I think Abby's immune.
Oh my gosh.
So the third one is going to be Ellie and Abby trying to make the cure and save, and they're both going to die.
Maybe.
I think that's what it is because I know a lot of people didn't realize this, but she bit him. Ellie bit Abby, and it's in the first one. Ellie bites someone, and they're like, "Yep, you're gonna turn." So it's like it's set that if Ellie bites you, she turns.
Huh.
So Abby should be turning, but you go through the next 3 weeks, and you get to Abby, and she's not turned.
And there is Ellie is worried about if you read her journal and stuff. She was worried when she kissed Dina originally.
Oh yeah,
because she's like, "Oh, did I get her infected or something like that?" And then obviously she didn't. But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think about that at all. That would be cool. I do want to talk about the potential prospects of a third game once we finish with the rest of the story. But this scene was really cool because Ellie is using all the things that you've been using. Like, did you know she started setting up the trap bombs and stuff? And you're like, this is really cool because you've been playing as Ellie for most of the game, and then now to have her be trying to kill you was terrifying, and utilizing all of her things that you were doing with the bow and arrow, the shotgun. But yeah, it was cool. What did you think that you play as Abby for this part?
I liked different. Like I liked it because what I thought I was going to be doing the whole time. Like I thought when you played as Ellie and you got to the theater, I thought that was it. I thought that was going to be the end. And
yeah.
I love that you got to play as someone else and that there was just more.
Well, I thought the same thing.
And they made you connect to the character and you like cared about Abby almost as much as you did Ellie. Because they made you stop liking Ellie because of like she was just almost doing too much.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, hey, you're being a little
you're going a little too far. Yeah.
And you start to like Abby because they show so much of her backstory and how she's just a person.
And that's such a great point because, yeah, I agree with you. At the end of Ellie's half at the beginning, it's like when I thought the game was actually going to end, I still thought it would have been an awesome game, but it wouldn't have been nearly as impactful as it would have if you didn't experience
if you just
Abby's
killed
story.
Abby.
Because I thought, I was like, okay, what's going to happen here? Am I going to have to go fight Abby, kill Abby, and then that's the game? It's like, okay, did it, but it's like, that wouldn't have been nearly as impactful of what ended up happening. Because, like you said, you actually grow to care for Abby and understand her story. And, yes, we get this fight scene. You have to fight her like 3 times. It's pretty crazy. And eventually, Abby ends up pinning her to the ground, like beating her freaking to death. And then Dina comes running in, and Abby's gonna freaking kill Dina, and she's like, she's pregnant.
Ellie's like, she's pregnant,
and then,
which is what Owen says to Mel, to Ellie, and then I think Abby was like, good.
She says good, and then she's about to slice her throat, and then it's Lev that stops her. Abby, like, don't.
Yeah.
And that was such a great moment because
she's like, never let me see you again.
Yeah, and just lets her live, and so this was the moment too that kind of starts to show that Abby is done. She's moving on. Mm-hmm. Like she had every reason to kill Ellie. You know, she killed all of her friends.
Like
every single one. Literally her past love. Everyone.
Oh, we skipped past. So it goes back to that cutscene where she has Tommy with the gun to the head, and she shoots Tommy.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, oh Tommy,
dude, oh my gosh,
Tommy's dead. They do it twice in this game where you're like, Tommy's dead,
dude. And Tommy, shout out to Tommy, dude. He is one of my favorite like underrated characters. Yeah. Like, and I love Tommy because he's essentially kind of he's Joel. He provides that Joel. Even now that Joel's gone, it's like we can see Joel in him, which is awesome. And
they're brothers.
Yeah, they're brothers. Yeah, exactly. Like they're blood. And he's kind of almost, in some ways, taking up that mantle of, like, the fatherly figure for Ellie in some regards. Obviously not the same. But it's like he's the cool uncle. And, and so when she shoots him, I was like, frick! Gosh dang it, so Tommy's dead again? Like, how many times are we going to kill frickin' Tommy in this game? But yeah, we find out he's alive, thank goodness. But he's, like, freaking crippled.
He can't do anything.
He's crippled to death. But yeah, so after Abby walks off, never let me see you again. We get, I think,
the second most beautiful scene in the entire game is when you
at the house.
Oh, is it
at the farm?
Yeah, at the farm.
Yeah,
which is like you're like, holy frick, where are they?
Yeah,
are they in the middle of Kansas?
It's so beautiful, dude. Yeah, and you got Ellie holding their baby, JJ, who they named after Jesse and Joel. You got once again, these are some of my favorite moments, just walking around, like exploring the house. And then talking to Dina, and you realize it's like Ellie has everything she needs in this moment, and she doesn't realize it. Like, this is how far she's willing to go in the name of revenge, is that she's willing to give up.
She has a safe haven.
She has a safe haven
in the middle of nowhere with
a kid
and a wife,
and she's willing to give it up in the name of revenge. And it's like, that's why this game is so powerful, dude, because it's. You can see, like, she has the moment you hurdle or get all of the sheep in the barn or whatever, and she has this freak out because the door slams shut and she sees Joel's dead face again. And this is like a running theme where in her journal she talks about she can't stop seeing Joel dead, and it's like PTSD. And so in the middle of the night that night she starts to sneak out and Dina catches her, and this moment was devastating too because as a player in this moment, I feel like for the most part, maybe not everyone, but for like me, I was like, Ellie, listen to Dina. Just stay. Just stop. Especially at this moment, now that you've experienced Abby's story, it's like, you're just like, just let it go. But from Ellie's perspective, you can still understand why she'd still be mad. And so it's like, but you're still sitting there and you're like, just please, for the love of goodness. And Dina's begging her, just like, you have everything you need. And she tells her, like, if you leave, like, I can't guarantee I'll be here. You can't expect me to wait here months. Mm-hmm. And maybe you might be dead. I'll have no way of knowing. Because it's weird to think about it, but it's like they don't have telephones or anything. In
there's nothing there to talk to each other.
Yeah. Like,
and they're going to Southern California.
It's like that's going to be a
long trip.
Like, on foot, too. It's like, it's going to take forever. So, it's like she's just telling her straight up, like, I don't know if I'll be here. And it's super sad, and you're just like, gosh dang it. And Ellie leaves, and then we cut to playing as Abby in California. They went to Santa Barbara with Lev, and they run into...
by the way, I want Santa Barbara to be the place of the third one, if they make one.
Yeah, that'd be
Or
really
Santa
cool.
Barbara and maybe
somewhere in Southern California.
Yeah, somewhere there. Because that was
looks awesome.
Gorgeous, too.
Looks way cool.
And it was really cool, like, the stuff that's there.
Mm-hmm.
You know? The streets, and like maybe they could do like Hollywood and Disneyland.
Yeah.
Oh, what if they go through Disneyland?
Like theme park is like a
or
like one of the dinosaur museum parts. That'd be way cool. I have some theories on a potential one like I want to talk about, but so you're looking for a Firefly base. You end up finding this shack with a radio. They tell you, hey, we're not there anymore, but we're at somewhere else in California.
Yeah, there's somewhere else.
Like, we're somewhere else in California. We'll see you there. Like, come find. We have like 200 people now. They're rebuilding the Fireflies. So Abby and Lev are like, great, cool, and they start to leave, and then all of a sudden they're attacked and beaten up by this group. I think they're called the Rattlers.
They don't really connect you a ton to the Rattlers. They're just like a secondary group to get to Abby.
Yeah, exactly. And so they capture Abby and Lev, and then you cut back to Ellie, and you're in California. You're in their boat that they had sailed in.
Santa Barbara.
Yeah, in Santa Barbara. You're hunting them down. You go through this mansion and stuff. Fighting this moment, you're fighting waves and waves of freaking Rattlers. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But you get this awesome moment that you were talking about earlier, where Ellie gets strung up, and then these two guys come to attack her, and she lets the thing bite her, and it has the thing attack her as it bites her, which is so cool because it's like, man, she's using her powers against these people. Like, she can take the bite, and then I love too when the guy's like, tell you what, like, I'll give you enough information to where you can go find her before you turn. And she looks at her bite, and she's just like, whatever, and shoots him. It's like, I'm not actually going to be infected. But she gets the information she needs, kills him, continues on her way. And like I said, in this moment, you get to their base, and you're literally... These Rattlers seem like...
The coolest combat scene was, like, when you... I loved it where you could just unclick the clickers. Did you do that?
I didn't do it, no.
Oh, really? You could release those clickers.
Oh, really?
And just lay down, and they go and take out everyone.
Oh, I see.
And same thing with the first one, Anthony, where they're like making like, Anthony, you suck, and it's like it's just a runner. You can release him, and he goes and takes out the guys.
What?
Yeah, you can release those zombies.
I didn't know that at all.
It's cool. You just lay there.
That's way cool. See, I purposely didn't.
She's not worried about them.
Clickers.
Like
That's true.
You know, you're not worried about infected in this game. You're worried about people.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. For some reason, I was just like, I'll just leave them chained up. But that would have been a great idea. I didn't even think about it. And see, it's cool stuff like that too, where it's like different players can have different experiences.
Like I barely fought anybody because I just let them all go.
That's nice.
It was fine.
But yeah, so there's waves and waves of these Rattlers. From what it seems like, the Rattlers are pretty sick in terms of what they do.
People.
But
they literally have slaves and hang everyone up.
Yeah.
Like if they get weak enough, they're just like, yep, we're gonna hang you up.
Hang them up, yep. Which once again, who knows? Maybe there's someone in there that's like gonna be a Yara and Lev. But yeah, they seem like really messed up people. Anyway, you making your way through this, you get to this basement where all the prisoners are. You free them, and they're like, she's infected, and they're gonna shoot you. And you're like, the guy's like, no, like she saved us or whatever. And you're like, where's Abby? And they're like, she's down at the pillars. And you're like, okay. And so they leave. You go through this thing, and this moment, this is like the grand finale, culmination, climax. It was so epic, dude. I was
you thought it'd be more epic too.
I was shaking
because you're like when you get there and you're just walking through this sea of people like hung up on poles, and you're just walking through and you see Abby sitting on one. You're like,
I didn't even recognize her either,
dude. She's all skinny and which makes sense, because she's like been starved for months, and
her hair's like cut super short. And this moment too, they put up a couple people in tank tops like girls to throw you off, because I was like looking and I'm like, none of these people are buff enough to be Abby.
No.
And then all of a sudden I look over and you can see the one where it's like the triangle. And I'm like, what the frick? Is that Abby? And dude, this whole scene, I was literally shaking, like playing it. Because I had no idea how this was going to end.
No.
I had no idea.
They could kill Ellie.
I thought they might kill each other. I was like, are they going to kill each other? Is that how it's going to end? And the game's going to end with Lev being like maybe the new main characters.
I was glad they didn't.
Me too, but like I had no idea what was gonna happen. I was like, holy frick! And so you cut down Abby, and you're like so weak that you're just hobbling. Both of you guys are just like in this mutual understanding, like we're both dead. We're both dead, and you get to the boats, which is awesome because that's the main menu screen. Mm-hmm. And you get to these two boats, and Ellie's like, I can't.
Ellie's thinking like she's just gonna go off.
Yeah,
she's like, I can't let you leave, and she says that to her. She's like, I'm not fighting.
Abby's like, I'm not fighting you, and dude, I'm shaking thinking about this because it was such an epic moment. But it was so brutal because I didn't want this. At this point in the game, I think that's what's so great about this moment is you don't want it. You don't want this to happen.
Yeah.
Because you like both of these characters, for most people, I think, at this point in the game. And so you start fighting her, and you're playing as Ellie this time, which is cool. And you're slashing her with your knife, you're freaking punching her, you lose your knife, and you end up just like punching each other. And you start drowning her to death. And it's forcing you, dude. So I tried to stop. I tried to see what would happen if I like didn't press square and whatever, and like it eventually just kind of keeps doing it for you, which is interesting. Because I was like, I don't want to freaking drown her, but
it gets to the point where you're like, you're killing her.
Yeah, like I literally thought that's how it was gonna end. I was like, she's gonna kill Abby, and that's gonna be how it ends. And yeah, eventually you get. I loved this moment because as you're drowning her forever. I'm like, I'm pretty sure she's dead. But you get this awesome, quick little flashback. It's like 2 or 3 seconds, and it's just of Joel playing guitar on the porch, and he looks up at you and smiles. And like when that happened, I was like, no, freaking gosh, it was like making me tear up. And it cuts back to Ellie.
Abby bites Ellie's fingers off as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. That was brutal.
That comes into play in a second.
Yeah, so it bites her fingers off, and then so Ellie's like finishing her off. It gets this little flashback, and she stops and falls to the ground, is crying. Abby's like bursting for breath, and you get this moment where they're just sitting there. She's just like, "Go," just like leave.
Yeah.
And Abby gets in the boat, sells off, and you're just left there sitting there. And this has kind of been a controversial moment I've seen for a lot of people where they're like, "Oh, what the heck? Ellie said she was going to kill every last one of them, but not the main one, not the one that actually did it." But it's like,
she's done.
Did you not play the story? Like,
yeah.
Did you not
explain the whole thing? Yeah, it explained There's nothing in the game that's not explained.
Exactly, and it's
which is why I don't get why the people are arguing.
And it's like, did you not realize what Ellie's journey has been and like what everything has meant to her and her relationship with Joel? It's like Joel. It's like, yes, Joel made mistakes, obviously, but Joel, I think, is a good person.
For sure.
And Ellie realizes that, and in this moment, she realizes like.
What would Joel do?
Yeah, exactly. What would Joel do? And it's like, would killing Abby be what Joel would want? Is killing Abby the answer to all this? And it's like, no. Like, she realizes, like, this isn't going to solve my problems. And I thought that was such a beautiful moment. And then her, you just see her sitting there, and it cuts to black. We go back to the farm, and
the house is gone. There's nothing in the house.
Is completely
So empty. Dina's left him.
Yeah, Dina's left her, and all the like every room's empty completely except for one. And you go up into the art room, and all of Ellie's stuff is just shoved in the corner and stuff. And she goes up, and you grab Joel's guitar. Gosh dang.
And remember, she got her fingers bitten off, so she can't play the guitar very well.
Yeah.
But she tries and plays. What's that song?
The song she plays like the first few notes. Yeah. The "If I Should Lose You," and she stops, and it cuts to black. And I thought that was the end. I was like, holy frick! Like, that was insane. And then but it comes back, and we get one final scene, and it's a flashback of Joel and Ellie, and Joel's on the porch, and it's this really heartwarming, sad scene. It's right after the dance scene, and Ellie's like, "I don't need you to be, fighting my fights or whatever," and she's like, she's still angry at him for everything, and Joel's basically just trying to say he's sorry, and Ellie says like, I don't know. She's like, what does she say? She's like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive you, but I'm gonna try, or something like that. And then Joel just says, I'd like that. And dude, it's so heartbreaking. It's such a great scene because it's like in the moment you're wanting them to like hug or wanting them to say like, I forgive you, or I'm sorry, or I love you, or something like that. But they don't. But you get the idea that
which is realistic too. Yeah, because you wouldn't like say that.
Exactly. Yeah. And you also get the idea, though, that they do. on the inside. Yeah, they're just not saying it. Yeah, it's like
Ellie's mad at Joel because she ruined his life, kind of.
Yeah,
not really, but
but in her mind, in some ways, and it's like, but you know, it's like in that moment, just through their acting and just through the way they're talking, it's like they love each other, and that she does forgive him, but she's not gonna say it. It's like like you said, it's more realistic this way. It would have been too obvious for them to just be like, I forgive you, I love you. And also, this game is about, like forgiveness in a lot of ways too. Mm-hmm. It's like
revenge and forgiveness.
Revenge and forgiveness, and that's what Ellie had to do with like Abby. And so in this moment, this is a great flashback at this time because she realizes like, I had to forgive Joel. It's like I forgive Abby and stuff like that. It's like, it's just so powerful. And then it cuts right back and it just shows Ellie sitting there in the spot still. She sets down the guitar in front of the window, leaves out out the door, and then cut to black. And that's the game. That's The Last of Us Part 2.
We just explained the whole game to you.
There you go.
Under an hour.
Yeah, not
so you
bad.
can watch this, or you can go play the game for 36 hours.
You don't need to play the game.
Go play this game.
Definitely play
Go buy this game for sure.
Highly recommend it, yeah. I want to talk to you a little bit.
Real quick, do you want to do what's our scores for it?
Oh, yeah.
What are you, out of 10, like what are you giving it?
So, for me, this is a 10 out of 10. And for me personally, I thought about it. It's like, first one or second one, which one do you prefer? Ultimately, I think they're different in a lot of ways.
They are.
And so it's kind of hard to compare.
Because gameplay in this one's better.
For sure.
It just is. Absolutely. But the story in the first one probably is better. Like, you get connected to more characters. You get connected to characters.
To Joel and Ellie, for sure. Yeah. And it's harder because this game isn't about, like... So, real fast, to touch on something Neil Druckmann said, is, like, originally he said this game is about, like, revenge and hate. And in this interview I was watching, he's like, I kind of lied about that. He's like, this game is actually just like the first one in terms of it actually is about love.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see that, but he explained it in a way I was like, yeah, it makes total sense. He was like, this game is about what love can do to someone, how far love can take someone, that they're willing to murder and destroy who they are in the name of love.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so powerful because, yeah, she did. Like, Ellie lost herself. And like we were saying in the lyrics, it's like, if I should ever lose you, I'd truly lose myself. That's what happens to Ellie. And she, by the end of this game, is a different person. And she has to come back to reality. And she, doesn't kill Abby. She forgives. This game, she did everything she did in the name of love. And I just thought that was super cool. And so for me, personally, I do give this one the edge over the first one. I think they're both amazing. Like it's like comparing.
Me and you were kind of the same thought on this.
Yeah, it's like comparing. I don't know. Like
Uncharted 3 to 4.
4, yeah, or something like that. It's like they're both amazing. Exactly.
I first started on Uncharted 3, but I think I like 4 better. But
yeah, same. And so like for me, it's like I give this one the edge purely because I think the gameplay has more options, is a bit more refined, and also I just think this first one's story had me like super emotionally connected, and this one did too. And this one made me feel like emotions that I have never felt in a game. In terms of like, it made me feel anger, it made me feel distress, scared, fear, happiness, like all of that. While the first one was much more like, I guess, worry for like Ellie or love and stuff like that. So it was like different emotions. It's hard, but I give this one the edge ever so slightly.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, this is one of my favorite games of all time.
Oh,
like, up there with The Last of Us. I think, obviously I don't have a list, but this is probably top 5 for me, which is awesome.
This is top 2 or 3. The Last of Us is both parts are both up there, so it's hard. I would give this probably... I'm at like a 9.5, but I don't want to give it a 9. I want to do 10 out of 10. Like, it's that good of a game. It's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
There's things here and there that are like... not very, it's like nitpicky stuff,
that
exactly. I'm like, whatever. Because it can be a little grindy, but not really.
Yeah.
Like, you enjoy every part of it.
And that's the thing, too, is real fast, it's like 10 out of 10 doesn't mean it's perfect.
No.
It just means it's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's
game.
like,
it's the best. It's one of the best games you've ever played.
Yeah, but sorry to interrupt, what were you saying?
But yeah, I just, 10 out of 10, they do such, like, the graphics are insane. The story is amazing, in my opinion. I know a lot of people don't like it, but... the facial animations are better than any game I've ever seen. Like, yeah, it's just such a great game. And Naughty Dog, most of their games are 10 out of 10s.
Yeah, and I think this proves yet again. I think Naughty Dog is unparalleled.
Best developer right now.
It's not even close. Like, I think Naughty Dog is in such. I mean, obviously, different developers for different things. Like Nintendo, great with gameplay and stuff like that. But like Naughty Dog overall, in terms of gameplay, story, like all of it, like it's just amazing how good they are. And I really do think, and this is a pretty bold statement, but I think this game could be considered like best game of all time in terms of like. I think
it won't because
the
haters
exactly.
and whatnot, but
yeah, and in my mind though, I could easily see an argument for this being like the best game of all time, and I think this game is going to be remembered in a lot of ways for its themes and like the story. Like I think people are going to remember it for a long time. You know, like Breath of the Wild, I consider one of the best games of all time too, and I put these like neck and neck.
Yeah,
honestly, and
different ways,
in completely different ways. Yeah, exactly, like totally different games. But yeah, for me, 10 out of 10. I loved this game to death. I'm sad it's over. Like I'm sad we're gonna have to wait. Who knows how long till another one, maybe.
Something we can talk about now that we've given our final scores. Mm-hmm. What is Naughty Dog going to do next? We're going to get something from Naughty Dog in the next 3 or 4 years, probably, because they usually do
They're
that.
Roughly on that schedule.
You know, so you got like Uncharted 4, and you got Lost Legacy, and then you got this,
and
that's
if I'm
all
not
within
mistaken,
5
they
years.
do have like they can separate their studio into two sometimes.
Yeah,
like they've done.
They had to do that with this game and Lost Legacy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because they've been working on this game for 7 years.
Exactly.
Because they announced the trailer in
at least
2016.
2016.
And you got to think they're probly working on it.
They had to have been started on it before that.
Maybe 6 years now. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So what do you want next? Last of Us Part 3. Do you think there'll be a Part 3? Or do you think the TV series? Or do you think the TV series that they're going to make is basically Part 3?
So I think the TV series will be just recreating the first game. I think like the first season will be the first game, second season will be the second game, and the third game will be at that point. But it's one of those tough things because Neil Druckmann, I guess, did you see he said a couple days ago they don't have any plans for DLC at this point, which is sad. I know it sucks. He said, and obviously
there is replayability in it. So.
Yeah, and also that can change. Like sometimes they don't know, and so
Sony might just be like, "Yeah, you guys got to make something."
Yeah, or they could end up being like, "Oh, we actually have a cool side idea we want to make." So who knows? It could still happen, but as of right now, there's no plan. So it's like, I have no idea. It's like, where would the story go from here? Obviously, there's.
So I had a theory. So I think, like I said, I think Abby's immune. Mm-hmm. So I think Abby's going to figure that out when she gets bitten and she doesn't kill herself or something, and then she's going to come find Ellie, and they're going to go because the Fireflies are remade. And they're going to try and remake the cure. And I think they're going to end with the surgery actually happening.
Wow.
And Ellie dying or Abby dying.
That would be
Or
crazy.
maybe both. I don't know.
Yeah. But that would be insane.
I think they'll cut it there. I think they'll cut it at 3. I think there will be a 3, and I think they're going to cut it at 3.
The thing is, if Abby is immune, one question I would bring up, though, is like how many other people are immune?
Yeah.
You know, it's like... that
as far as we knew, there was only Ellie.
Only Ellie.
And like... Maybe they're related somehow. Like we don't know.
Who knows? So. And yeah, I do think if there is another one, Abby will be involved. Yeah. Because of
and Ellie, Abby and Ellie.
Lev, and they head off, and so I think they would be involved in some capacity, and I'd be fine with that. I know a lot of people don't like Abby, but I think she's cool, and so I'd be happy to see her back. But I would want it to focus on Ellie mostly, and ultimately I just want a happy ending for Ellie because.
Yeah, this game I don't think you're gonna get that.
I know it's just sad because like I said, it's so sad that there was the line in the first one like I don't want to end up alone, and in this game she ends up alone. Mm-hmm. And where I wanted to ask you real fast, where do you think Ellie is leaving to when she leaves the house at the very end?
Jackson.
I think so too.
I think she's going back to Jackson with Tommy.
I
think Dina's gonna be there.
You think so, and you think that they'll be able to reconcile their relationship,
or maybe she goes back there, and Jackson's destroyed. And maybe that's the third one. I don't know.
I guess that's true.
There's a lot of ways.
Point.
There's a lot of ways they could go for third. They definitely sequel baited a little bit.
And maybe for the third one, she could be trying to find Dina. Yeah. Like maybe Dina and her kid are.
Because obviously they're not just going to leave Ellie alone forever, right?
Who knows?
Like, they're not going to do
with
that.
Naughty Dog, I don't know. It just sucks that we have to wait 7 or more years.
That's how games
think
are.
Think about
though,
it, 2027 at the earliest. That's the earliest we're talking about. It could be 2030. We could be in our 30s by the time the next one comes out. It's sad.
Get something to play in the 30s.
I guess so, but it's just. Sad to think about.
PS6.
PS6, yeah. I'll probably
it will be PlayStation 6.
It could
or
be,
it could be
end
the
of
end
PS5
of this life
like this
cycle.
one.
This coming life cycle.
Yeah,
Because that's what they've done so far. Is every end of life cycle they've released a Last of Us.
PS3 was the Last of Us, end of it, and then this for PS4. So
and maybe I'll play this Last of Us Part 2 again. Maybe I'll replay it on the PS5. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think I saw some people theorizing that Ellie is leaving to go off on her own, and she can't forgive herself for what she did. And there's people theorizing that's why all of her stuff was shoved in the corner. Like Dina isn't going to forgive her. I don't think that myself.
No, I want her to get back.
I do too, 100%. And who knows if she does? I want to know. And I want Ellie to have mostly a happy ending. I think I am curious.
I don't want the world to end the way it is right now.
Yeah,
is what I want to say.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't. It does make sense for Ellie to be the cure if that ever, because this game doesn't address that too much. Besides, obviously the stuff with her and Joel, but there's not anyone trying to now solve everything that way.
The Fireflies might be.
Yeah, that's true. And so
we don't know.
Who knows if they will go that direction with the third one. I'm really curious to see it. And will Ellie be the main character for the third one? I hope so. But with the first one being Joel, this one being Ellie, is the third one going to be Lev, Abby?
I hope not. I want it to be Ellie and Abby.
Me
I want
too.
you to be able to play as both, and maybe co-op for Naughty Dog's first co-op game.
Cool.
Because they could have done that with Lost Legacy.
Yeah. Absolutely. No.
They
could have though, for sure.
They could have though, and maybe they'll make the next one fully co-op.
That actually brings up part of my prediction is there wasn't multiplayer for this one, which I know some people were kind of sad about because the first one's multiplayer was actually really cool. I think that there was
Battle Royale for
I think they're gonna make Last of Us Battle Royale next year. No, I think there actually will be a multiplayer thing though.
Eventually,
I think they will, and I don't think it'll even be tacked on. I think it'll be a free to play thing, and I don't think it's gonna be riddled with microtransactions. It's not gonna be that kind of game necessarily, but I think, and it might be. Who knows? I don't know, maybe. But I think they will add some sort of multiplayer compatibility to the game.
Stealth section
as kind of a way to hold us over for the next forever
7 years
till the next
8
one
years.
Potentially. But in terms of Naughty Dog's schedule, do you think we're gonna get Uncharted next? Do you think we're gonna get a brand new game?
I think they might make a new IP.
I think so
because
too.
They left Uncharted to the point where you're happy with the way it ended.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they might just end Uncharted and stop doing it, or maybe make some more spin-offs later. But I think we're gonna get a new IP in some different world. I don't know what kind of world would they do. What kind of world do you want to see? Do you want to see?
I've heard a lot of people theorize space because that's somewhere they haven't been yet, or sci-fi.
Yeah.
I don't know how well that would fit with.
I just want to. I love the apocalyptic universes, so I kind of want something like that.
Grounded.
Maybe a nuclear warfare and you got Fallout.
Fallout, Naughty Dog. Yeah, I don't know. There's the possibilities are infinite, honestly, and I trust Naughty Dog with anything. It's they could announce.
They haven't ruined me yet.
Yeah.
I also trusted Bethesda at one point. Though, so
it's true, but I honestly think Naughty Dog knows what they're doing, and no matter what they work on, it's gonna be great. And I think it'd be cool to see something sci-fi, but I'm not necessarily. I don't care really what they do next. I'm gonna be excited for it no matter what.
Yeah.
I do hope we get Uncharted at some point. I think that'd be cool.
Uncharted 5.
Yeah, and it's focused on Nathan Drake's daughter or Chloe again, or something like that. But I'd be lying if I said I'm not excited for Last of Us Part 3. I really hope that they just decide, screw it, we're going to start working on it right now. So it can be ready in 5 years or 4 years. Yeah. Heck,
2023.
Put it in the same engine as this one. I don't care. It looked beautiful. You know what I mean?
Can't imagine it looking better.
Yeah. And it's they could just do what they're doing with Miles Morales, where it's same engine stuff and it's maybe a little smaller, but I don't know. I just want more.
Give me.
Yeah, give it to me now. Is there any other last minute things you wanted to throw out there from this game?
I don't know. I mean, such a good game.
Yeah.
Best game on the PS4.
Yeah, agreed. I agree for sure. I think this is one of my favorite games.
Last of Us 1 was the best game on the PS3, and then this became the best game on the PS4. So Last of Us Part 3 will be the best game on the PS6.
Yeah, it's true.
PS5.
I think, this game, it's just so good. I'm so sad it's over because I look forward to games like these.
Yeah, me too.
And I just don't know when
you can only get them every now and then.
Every now and then. And there's something so special about, Naughty Dog games. And, this one, especially, Last of Us series. they just hit on a whole nother level that a lot of games don't.
Yeah.
And so, I'm looking forward to if they announce another one. And once again, I think this game, Ellie falling for some of the same mistakes Joel did, and Abby, and all how they all connect, and it just so well done. And props to Naughty Dog. As of right now, this is by far my game of the year too.
Yeah.
Nothing's.
I was watching some stuff on Cyberpunk 2077, and it actually looks really cool.
It does look awesome.
When they released their thing, and there's like different sections you can go to. It's not like Witcher, I don't think it's going to be the same thing. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know.
Yeah, and as of right now, for what's coming out...
I don't know if anything's beating Last of Us 2. Unless Miles Morales is, like, insane.
Which, here's the thing.
I think Miles Morales is going to be like Lost Legacy.
Yeah, Miles Morales is going to be awesome. It's going to be great, but it's not going to be, like, this. No. I just don't...
I will buy the console for it.
This game, this game took 7 years to make.
Yeah.
It's like...
Miles Morales clearly only took 2 years at max.
Yeah, at max, so... Exactly. Like this, I think will be my game of the year. We'll see how things shake up. We don't know exactly everything coming for fall, but so happy this game came out. Loved it. Glad it's finally here after 7 years. But we thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you thought of The Last of Us Part 2 and what are your favorite spoilers from the game, all the reveals and whatnot. And what do you think Last of Us Part 3 will entail? Like where's it going to go story-wise and whatnot. And tell us your favorite moments from this game. We thank you guys for listening. Hasten, do you have anything else to say?
Nope, that's all.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.